Hi, welcome to ParrotandWolf. Today we're going to talk about past perfect tenses in English. And when we use a perfect tense, we describe an action or state that is connected to another action or state. And when we use the past perfect tense, we can combine it with continuous actions to form the past perfect continuous tense. Now, don't worry if this sounds difficult and a bit confusing to begin with. It gets much easier with a little practice. So we have the past perfect tense and the past perfect continuous tense. Let's look at the past perfect first. I went to John's house, but he went to the beach. The verb form in this sentence for both actions is past simple. I went and he went. They're both in past simple, so we don't know if the two actions are connected or which one happened earlier or later. They may have happened at the same time, we just don't know. So let's think. Are both actions in the past? Yes, they are. Are they connected? Maybe, we're not sure. Do they happen at the same time? Again, maybe. And which one happens earlier? Don't know. The meaning and the time order are a little unclear because both actions are in past simple. So if we want to show that one past action happens before another past action, how do we do it? Well, look at this. I went to John's house, but he had gone to the beach. The first action is still past simple, but we've changed the second action to past perfect. He had gone. This difference is very important because the past perfect tense tells us it happened earlier, before the past simple action. This is always true with past perfect. It always happens before past simple. But be careful, the order of the sentence is not the same as the order in time. The past perfect always happens before the past simple. It can never happen after the past simple, even if the sentence order is different. So let's think. Are both actions in the past? Yes. Are they connected? Yes. Do they happen at the same time? No. Which one happens earlier? Past perfect. Now, the meaning is very clear because of the past perfect tense. So let's look at another example. The train left when we arrived at the station. Both actions are past simple, so we don't know which one happened first. In fact, it sounds like both actions happen at the same time. The meaning is unclear. To show that the train left the station before we arrived, we must use past perfect. The train had left when we arrived at the station. The first action is now in past perfect, so we know it happened earlier, before we arrived, in past simple. The meaning and the time order of events is clear. Of course, we can write the sentence like this. When we arrived at the station, the train had left. The meaning is exactly the same. Remember, the perfect action always happens before the simple action, regardless of sentence order. So that's past perfect. Let's look at the past perfect continuous. I had been working for 20 hours when my boss called. In this sentence, the first action is in past perfect continuous, I had been working, and the second action is in past simple, my boss called. Now, the good news is we know that the perfect continuous action happens before the past simple action. So, why is it perfect continuous? Why not just perfect? Well, there's a difference, and the difference is time. We use the perfect continuous to show the action happens for a temporary period of time and is then stopped or interrupted by the past simple action. And it's this emphasis on the period of time that is so important with a continuous tense. So let's think. Are both actions in the past? Yes. Are they connected? Yes. Which action happens earlier? Past perfect continuous. Which action happens over time? The past perfect continuous. And which action interrupts? The past simple. So we use perfect continuous to show it starts first, it continues for a period of time until the interruption. We've got start, continue, interrupt. Now, how do we form the past perfect tenses? Well, when talking about past perfect actions and states, we always use had plus past participle. The good news is the form stays the same for every subject, thankfully. So in the sentence, I had eaten breakfast, I is the subject, had is the auxiliary verb have, eaten is the past participle form of eat, and breakfast is the object. Some other examples are she had done her homework, and we had walked home. Now, when talking about past perfect continuous actions, we always use had plus been plus ing. Again, the good news is the form stays the same for every subject. So in the sentence, I had been eating breakfast. I is the subject, had is the auxiliary verb have, been is the auxiliary verb be, eating is the ing form of eat, and breakfast again is the object. Some other examples here are you had been playing football and they had been buying shoes. As a final note, we very rarely use the past perfect continuous tense to describe states, such as I had been being. It sounds uncomfortable to the ear and is typically avoided in most cases. Use the normal perfect tense instead, I had been. So, in regards to English pronunciation, we always contract the verb forms. For example, I had been driving all day becomes I'd been driving all day, and I had already left the supermarket becomes I'd already left the supermarket. These contractions are common when speaking and writing, but usually it's informal when writing. So, to summarize, past perfect and past perfect continuous tenses describe actions and states in the past. Past perfect and past perfect continuous tenses describe actions and states that happen before another action in the past. And remember, always contract your verb forms. To find out more about learning English for Cambridge and IELTS exams, business and work, or general conversation, visit ParrotandWolf.com.